New developments in the Hillary Clinton email scandal. The State Department confirming that she failed to turn over a key email involving problems caused by her use of a private email server while she was Secretary of State. It was included in the messages that her aide, Huma Abedin, turned over from her inbox. In 2010, after realizing her emails were being blocked by the State Department's spam filter, Clinton wrote to Abedin saying, quote, "Let's get separate address or device, but I don't want any risk of the personal being accessible." Campaign spokesman Brian Fallon downplaying the newly discovered message, saying, quote, "Secretary Clinton had some emails with Huma that Huma did not have, and Huma had some emails with Secretary Clinton that Secretary Clinton did not have." Right. But meantime, we're also learning that Clinton reportedly failed to fully record at least 75 meetings with political donors, loyalists, and Clinton Foundation contributors during her time as Secretary of State. My goodness, that is a lot. So, Peter, I'm going to come to you first. Okay, yes. Counselor, bear with me here.
How do we deconstruct this?
Right,
I'm going to ask your help.
Okay. So let's make a distinction, right, between things that are illegal and things that are improper.
Yes.
Now, we know out of the State Department IG report last month that there were some things deemed illegal. There were violations, at least, of the Federal Records Act coming from this Clinton email catastrophe.
Regulations stemming from those acts.
Okay, so that's one pocket.
Number one.
Then there's this today, another, clearly she had a sworn oath where she said she turned in all the emails. We know that to not be true now. So at the least, improper, not trustworthy. But do you think that it undermines the serious nature of when she does stuff that is really a violation of the Records Act and stuff? Does this fuel the much to do about nothing argument that Hillary and her spokespeople like to keep up when we talk about it in its totality?
Well, they'd like to fuel that with that nonsensical statement that, well, Huma got some that Hillary didn't get, and Hillary got some that Huma didn't get, and now, you know, well, they were using secret Blackberries and servers and secret email systems, so obviously stuff was destroyed. 30,000 emails were destroyed.
Right.
And so it's this jigsaw puzzle, crossword. Well, let's find one that she sent over here that we didn't get, and all this is part of the same pattern of deception.
So is that just making it that much worse for her, Melissa? You know, her trustworthy numbers are in the tank, and this type of stuff coming out. It seems like every week that there's another development of something that she left off or didn't say.
See, I think everybody out there knows that she's not trustworthy and basically that she's a liar, even the people who love her, and that they feel like this is the price of having her in office, is that she's a liar. I don't think that's new. I think what's really interesting is that she continues to compound the things that are totally illegal, where she completely broke the law. How can you be the chief law enforcement officer of the nation if you're constantly breaking the law? But what's most interesting in there is when she said, let's keep the personal personal. Okay, so we all try and operate like that at work. We all say, oh, you shouldn't have your personal stuff in your regular email. But I know I personally don't care that much because I'm not trading favors for money. So I'm not as concerned about keeping things separate. She was selling America for a profit for herself, for hundreds of millions of dollars, doing things that were bad for Americans, for that much money for herself. That's what she's hiding.
How about that, though, Sandra? The 75, I thought that was, we cannot, you know, kind of tuck that under away. 75 unrecorded meetings with donors and lobbyists. What are the American people to think of that?
But when you look at the strategy on the part of Republicans, especially in an election year, they're not championing this. They're not looking at what's coming out of this email scandal and actually making it play in their favor. But my legal question for you, Peter, is you look at the questioning that is happening here in Pagliano, the latest, under oath, you know, pleading the fifth, and nobody's answering anything. So how can Republicans expect to get anywhere with this investigation when everybody close to Hillary Clinton keeps saying, I'm not answering that?
Well, the clock is ticking, and the guy takes the Fifth Amendment, and he's part of a deal to turn states' evidence for the federal government. And then the witnesses pile on with one lawyer, so they share information with each other.
Objecting hundreds of times to the questions being asked.
I mean, she and her lawyer say she'd be in the NBA. I mean, they are running the clock more than we've ever seen in American politics at all. And so one after another, we get a deceptive message. This is the latest one. What does personal mean? Does personal mean a meeting with a donor? So she's saying, I want to keep the personal emails about my meetings with donors to the Clinton Foundation?
With donors that are not above board, with donors that are, you know, I don't know, dictators and people who torture people, donors who do things that are nefarious, That's what she wanted to hide.
Stacey, let me ask you this question. You know, for Peter and I, we're lawyers, so we kind of understand the Fifth Amendment and all of these kind of escape routes that you can take when you don't want to be held accountable. But for non-lawyers, for lay people, what does that read to you when people take the Fifth Amendment, when people evade questions and they object?
That she's a very, very calculated criminal. And how could you want a criminal to run your country? And there's so many smoking guns, Peter. Why have they not indicted her?
Well,
why not?
That's what Donald Trump
Because the president doesn't want her to
That's what Donald Trump is asking on his website.
Right. Why are they not indicting her? Because the president doesn't want them to indict her. That's
Absolutely.
Why.
Meantime, Donald Trump's going after Hillary Clinton's trustworthiness, just as you're talking about, Stacey.
Oh, yes.
A problem that's been dogging her in the polls from the very beginning of her campaign. The presumptive Republican nominee letting voters keep the issue fresh in their minds 24/7 by launching a new website. Here's what it's called: lyingcrookedhillary.com.
Is that one word?
And it will document what the Trump camp calls the former Secretary of State's 10 legendary lies. The site will use videos, graphics, and detailed statements, maybe even songs, to make its point. Here's a clip from the first video posted focusing on the Benghazi terror attack.
Have you always told the truth?
I've always tried to. We've seen rage and violence directed at American embassies over an awful internet video.
Okay, does this make the point? Is that compelling?
How do you try to tell the truth? How do you try to tell the truth? Either you tell the truth or you don't tell the truth. There is no trying
Good point.
to tell the truth.
I think it's going to be very interesting to watch this because, I mean, this is what Republicans are really sitting back and waiting for. They've known forever. I mean, the Clintons have been like this since the beginning of time. They have turned politics into personal profit. They've taken it to an art form level. It's amazing. But no one can ever really make it stick in a way that compels voters. So they're saying, is Donald Trump finally going to be the one that throws this at them and it really sticks? And he's starting with this website. It'll be interesting to watch. I don't know.
I think you made a really good point earlier, though, when you talked about this is not news to anyone, that Hillary Clinton is completely untrustworthy, even among her own base, even among her own party. So that's a very good point. So I think the question is, because I see this whole general election as very much a boxing match, where for every punch you have to immediately throw a counter punch. You cannot let anybody put you on the ropes. You have lost at that point. So what is she going to do in response to this? And I think she's not going to try to paint herself as trustworthy. That's not going to work. Even she knows it. So I think she's got to try to counter with making people afraid of Donald Trump.
Well, I hear on this couch all the time political pundits calling us what a horrible politician she is, but yet she's got all this going on.
No, she's not
and evidence that she said that this attack was because of a video, and the same time emails revealed that she told her daughter it was Al-Qaeda.
She's a great politician. She's only second to her husband and to President Obama. She's been a very effective politician, so we can't diminish that. But is he going somewhere with this? Let me ask a one lucky guy question. Okay, I was raised by my mother and father. My mother would say, you can't say that about a woman as a man. So how do women react, whether they're Republican, Democrat, Independent? Is there one kind of reaction that is, I mean, those are hard, harsh things to say. Now, they might be accurate. But how do
I don't think women are nearly as fragile as people are afraid we are. I don't think we vote as women. I mean, I think that we vote for, I don't care how she is on women's issues or he is. I care how everybody is on the economy and national security. I think that putting up with their lies and everything they've done that's been illegal is the price of the Clinton competency for people who feel like the way they operate is competency. If we see the economy go further south and the market go further south, that's when people don't want to put up with them anymore. It would be interesting to see if this Brexit pulls us down further. That could be the thing that works against the Clintons.
The thing that worries me about her is that she has a quid pro quo with we don't know who. So when she becomes president, she could put our country in such grave danger because we don't know what she's promised to people that she's gotten money from.
That's a good point. But to your first question, though, Peter, about how kind of her demeanor will be with these types of egregious attacks, I'm thinking about the first debate, Trump-Clinton. I'm thinking visually what that's going to seem like, what the energy is going to be like. Now, I'm a woman from the South, so I respect gentility and femininity and all of those things. I don't think there's a place for it here. I think that at this point, the gloves are off, so to speak, and I believe that she has permission, and certainly Mr. Trump, too, because if you remember in 08, Barack Obama got a lot of slack from the way he treated her in some earlier debates.
I agree. There was a change.
Yeah, there was a change in tone.
I agree.
Yeah, so I think, but I think Trump will not be burdened by those expectations.
I think that's a great point.
Interesting.
Great point. Hollywood.